Hey everyone, thanks for being here for another What's in the Box. Today we'll be taking a look at a 6 scale figure from Threezero. If you don't know Threezero, they have put out a number of solid figures over the last couple years. They first made an impression on me with their X-File figures, and then I believe they've gone on to do, what? The Boys, maybe? Just a handful of stuff, but they again caught my attention with their Stranger Things line. And today we'll be reviewing the massive 6 scale Demogorgon. So I'll show you the very first thing that gets a down vote, in my opinion, which is this stand. As you can see, it's very wobbly. The reason for this is on the bottom there is a screw that you tighten in to make this sturdy, and they provided a far too long screw, therefore it doesn't tighten up to the point where it's really of any use to you all. It's a cool little stand. I like the idea of it. I do feel that this arm is maybe a little fragile, and I wish I could have used it. At the moment, it can just barely grab onto the Demogorgon's leg and give a little bit of support. The problem is the figure needs a lot of support due to the shape of the feet. My next big complaint is that this base is very glossy. If you know anything about plastic like this, it's very easy to scratch up. It's very easy to get fingerprints on and various other things. I would have rather that been matte, but I do love that the logo is there and it's nice and shiny and chromy. But really the base needed to be flat black. And really, where was quality control with this? Yeah, I cannot get the screw in any further and it will not tighten up anymore. That means I will likely, after paying $250 for this figure, have to go out, dig around, find a better screw, and put that in instead. Which is, once you pay that amount, you shouldn't have to do anything else. But I digress. So here we have the figure. It's massive. It stands probably about 16 inches tall total. And it's sculpted really well. Obviously, if you watch the show, especially in the first season, you got a number of real nice close-up shots of the Demogorgon, the original Demogorgon. See, here he goes. He's trying to fall over on me. He is not easy to pose. He has sort of hooves instead of feet, and it's super difficult to get him to stand for long. Then you include the base, which is virtually worthless, and you've got a figure that you can't really display. I would suggest to go out and get maybe a doll stand, which has sort of the clasps around the waist, and that would probably help stabilize him quite a bit. He will likely attempt to fall on me again. So yeah, where was I? This has a lot of great sculpting work done in it. The texture of the skin is just, it looks like 100-year-old skin that's just stretched tightly and scaly, and it's nice and creepy. The feet are done well. This is super accurate to the actual Demogorgon, I can tell you that much. I researched this character early on. I wanted to sculpt him myself, and that just never transpired. But this high, tight, small chest is all accurate. The collarbones that come out to the shoulders, these dips in the abdomen and rib cage, all very accurate. The hands, the feet, everything's great as far as the sculpt goes. Where I get nitpicky is on two things. One, the paint. Now, if you're portraying the Demogorgon as he appears in the final episode of season 1, they nailed it. If you're trying to replicate the Demogorgon at any other point in the show, they didn't do that great of a job on the paint. Early on, it's established, and if you look at the behind the scenes stuff, this creature has a pearly white skin with a lot of grays and pinks in it. He's not poop brown. Sorry, lack of a better word. He is not brown in any respect until he starts taking damage, and probably the second episode he gets a little darker, or the second to last episode he gets a little darker, and then he gets even more darker because he's burned and various other things. And so by that final episode where the Demogorgon and Elle have a standoff in the classroom and they both disappear into the upside down, he is this color. I don't really know what I would have wanted more. I wish they would have given us a clean option, to be honest with you, but I would have been completely torn. The clean option would look really cool with that skin tone. But I guess we'll just have to deal with what we have here. It's decent, and it's particularly accurate to the final episode, so I won't complain too much. Second complaint is the teeth in the open mouth head. They are small and stubby and not all that accurate to the movie, or sorry, to the show. Clearly in multiple shots, like the attack scene at the Wheeler house, Steve fighting him off, he has long and nasty teeth in this flower looking face of his, and they just didn't really pull that off. I understand it would have caused a lot of molding problems, but personally I would have liked to have seen maybe 5 to 10 longer teeth in each flap. That way it would have been a little more accurate and a little more fierce looking. The inside of the mouth is pretty cool. I mean, you get that inner jaw that's nasty looking, and then you get the unfolded flare of the overall head. It is cool. I promise you it's cool, and it's well done. It's just that I'm picky about the teeth. He looks like an old grandpa whose teeth have been worn down to nubs. But they could have avoided that by having a handful of teeth that they glued in individually. 5 per flap. I'm not asking for much. Do it just out on the edges, and it would have made a world of difference. But overall, if you take in that it's the end episode coloring, and the sculpt is amazingly accurate, then great. Of course, he has all the standard articulation, knee bends on both sides, ankles, wrists, up into his torso. It's more of a vinyl flexi material out on the outside of an endoskeleton, sort of. We all know this material. It's the stuff everyone complains about. Oh, the arms bend funny and they don't look natural. Well, okay. Not a lot you can do about that. But again, overall, really cool if you're a big fan of the show. So let me set him aside so we can get better shots of the close-up details. He's actually too big for my detail camera. We'll go ahead and pop off this head to do that. And set him to the side. Now, like I mentioned, we have 2 extra pegs here. Standard kind of pegs. They're bigger than most 6-scale figure pegs, of course. And then we have the 2 hands. Now, As you can see, he has sort of a khaki color underneath, and then he has a dark wash over all of that. There is some highlighting on the knuckles and veins, and a few of the nails are lighter color overall, especially towards the tips. Underneath the hand, some nice shading in the folds of his palm. Although the color is debatable, they did really well in the paint schemes. Set those aside. Again, we'll take a look at the budding head, as I have just nicknamed it. It looks kind of like a flower bud, which is appropriate. Again, nice shading and tones to that. The head is semi-gloss here, but it gets a little glossier up towards the front of the face, which is a nice touch. It's really everything that you would want from this character. Amazing bits of detail. I mean, it took hours to probably do some of the skin texture on this head and on the overall figure. Then, of course, we have the open mouth. Again, the backside is really nicely detailed. All sorts of little tiny skin striations. Very, very cool. As you can see on some of this, the teeth are showing a little bit on the edge. You do have some bigger teeth from time to time. I wish there were more of those. And then, of course, you have the inside of the mouth itself. It is multicolored in mostly reds, a lot of dark reds, medium reds. As it gets out towards the edge of the face and the edge of the mouth, those colors lighten up, which is a natural thing to happen. And then you have all the little sort of cream colored teeth throughout. You can even spot in here what looks like little glands inside the mouth, which is really cool, which would probably be saliva glands, or these could even be muscles within the mouth that make it fold and open up. Yeah, I mean, they did a great job. You can even go back in here and there's some depth back into his throat and like his secondary jawline. It's Threezero did a really great job on this. It's just, you know, is the color accurate? Can you live with it? I think overall I can live with the color, even though I'm griping. It's an end scene season 1 Demogorgon, and that's pretty much all you need to know. I would have loved, like I said, I would have loved to see it in its natural state and color and have that a lighter look. But as we know, as the series continues, this sort of brownish tone actually is what they kind of stick with. The Demodogs are kind of that color. Vecna is that color. So I guess it's overall accurate for the most part. And I'm glad I picked it up. Of course, they're doing more of the cast. I will have a review for L up here pretty soon. They're doing 11. Next up, let's see. Dustin is next up. Lucas is after that. I hope they do the whole cast. It would be pretty cool. I would like a Hopper personally. I would love to have a shelf with the Demogorgon and L, and then maybe a shelf with Hopper and, I don't know, Steve or something like that. But yeah, I do think overall, if you're into 6 scale and you're wanting this, it's the way to go. It was, I think, about $150, but I will tell you this, if you're in any of the 6 scale groups, I have been seeing him go for close to 200 actually. At one point, I thought after I review the figure, I might sell it, but not for 200 after paying 250 for it. So, but yeah, I think you can find him. Just be vigilant, look around, make sure you check all your options, and I got him to stand. Check all your options. You might get him for around 200, which is pretty much a steal for a figure 16 inches tall and very, very unlikely to be produced again. That's the reason I bought him. I'm like, you don't see many 6 scales that aren't Iron Man, Batman, Superman, Star Wars. So I'd rather have something a little more unique. But anyway, check. Sideshow will still probably have him. You can check out Time Walker Toys. I'm not sure who else carries 6 scale outside of that. All I know is don't fool around with Toys Wonderland. But yeah, the figure's great. Threezero did a good job. Again, nitpicks were the teeth and the paint, but that's about it. If I was to bother with a rating, which I'm debating about doing away with ratings altogether, let's say an overall rating, I'd probably give him a 4 out of 5 for what it is. It's not a super well-known character like Iron Man or Batman. It's not going to be picked at too much. So yeah, I would give a 4 out of 5 on this, and I would only knock that 1 point off because of the paint and the smaller teeth. So, but if you like Stranger Things, check this out, pick it up, and I'll catch you next time.